That was just a bit quiet. Just a quick cry there. Usually when Harry writes a new song, I need to muster myself up, and I'm like, right, is it going to be one that I cry to, or is it one that I'm going to try to forget about and hope that he also forgets about and doesn't try to play at the stage next time? Sometimes you end up with something like Moonlight to Moon, when it just sort of sticks in his mind for a long time and you wish he'd forget it, but it just keeps on coming out. But this one's actually good. This one's actually a good one. I like this one.
Okay, so I think we were just practicing Diamonds in My Heart.
No, oh, we were playing that.
Sometimes when
so that's
Harry
when
and I are practicing,
Yeah, that's why I
I like
pulled that
to
out.
talk as though I have something of value to
Well, it was
add.
hard to tell what
Usually
was
not the case.
landing yesterday. Something must have done, but it's hard to tell.
Okay, so I think basically like
Cool.
that's the riff, and that's the writing of the song basically.
As I'm sure you can tell, I spent weeks thinking about this percussion part. Got to try new tuning for the tambourine. Experiencing the benefit of that now.
Okay, so I think at this point I'm going to get a sheet of paper or to get my book, and here's the book, and there's the song. No, that's sounding good, Jerry.
I think that's the best. I was just thinking, I think that's the best I've ever played that tambourine.
Here's the tambo's grown up.
Shame I couldn't repeat
Yeah.
the performance. Constantly whinging about that.
I'm glad in the end we went to versatility.
Oh, it looks like you were inspired to go and sit and write your book.
Maybe I finally got fed up with hitting the tambourine. Thought, nah, I need to pursue my own project. I can be more than just a tambourine player. Has yet to materialize.
So Sam asked me to talk about the lyrics, but what you can see from this is that I think that really I definitely started with the tune and then I just put words on it.
How do
Yeah.
you put words on a tune like that? You know, because that's one of the things that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I think like if you hear like the way that I'm humming, it tends to be like like there's like impetus in the different notes, so then the words fit based on where like the impetus should be for the first bit of the song, at least.
Okay.
I mean, it's not it's not exactly poetry. It's just the first bit is just tell me, baby, every day. Say you'll love me, come what may.
I don't. Yeah, the impetus thing's interesting. So is that like a note within the chord? Like, what is that
I think
impetus?
just more. Let me go and get my guitar.
On the lone prairie, where the coyotes swing, and when I die, don't.
So I'm just because back at that time I was tuned down half a tone, so might as well make it fit.
I don't understand guitar players. Always putting their instrument out of tune.
For me, no. Basically, the reason I tune it down half a tone is because then I can play this song, for example, in G, like as if it's in G, which is easier to play. So it's really just so that I can sing more easily. It's like using a capo. Just
I was
the
going
other
to say,
way
why
around.
wouldn't you use a capo?
Because capo would put it up, right? So if I wanted it to be the same pitch, I'd have to put it like capo 11. I think, to be honest, it's just putting words on top of like the groove. Tell me, baby, every day. I don't know. I think that's really what it is in terms of what I mean by like the impetus. Just what
Okay,
will
so we've
feel
graduated
nice
from
on top of
impetus to
that.
groove. I guess this is why music
Yeah.
is hard. I guess this is why music
But
is
yeah,
hard.
I think it's what would feel, yeah. Whereas instead of like, for example, if I were to think like, oh, what can I think of that would be like a clever thing or a poetic thing, like that could make the song be good in another way. But I think for me, I tend to start with something quite banal, and then if something more poetic or whatever comes along later, then all the better, you know. Like a bit like with New Shirt, right? We've got the bit that we like the most.
I was
the
waiting
bit,
by
like,
the
I've
east
been
gate.
standing. Yeah. Whereas the
I tell
initial, like
everyone
the
I'm
actual
waiting for
beginning
rain,
of the song.
but I'm just waiting for
Yeah.
you. Oh,
Yeah. Whereas actually the beginning of the song is very like simple. See me, darling, in the afternoon, my love. All I want is that heaven sent kind of love. Whoa. I've been standing on the corner. And then it gets a bit more like cool, I guess. And I guess it's similar with this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys, you're always standing on corners, you know. You and what? Like, is it you and plain white tees, man who can't be moved, always sitting on corners, like, maybe someone will just turn up. It's like, what is it? What is this weird virtual reality that songwriters live in, where it's like, if I just like mope around in the right place, maybe at the right time of day, I'll just like find some bombshell and we'll make it happen. Maybe that's another question of groove. You know, maybe for some people it works. And,
well, I think it's like waiting is a very song thing to do, because songs are often about powerlessness, and waiting is just a very quick way of saying like, I'm here engaged in and very aware of something that's beyond my control. So it's also why there's like so many requests in these songs, you know, like see me, darling, you know, in the afternoon, like an imperative, and in this one, tell me, baby, every day, you know, like it's like a prayer, and waiting is also like a prayer.
Lullabies are interesting for their preponderance of command verbs.
And then later in the song, you know, even the third line, right? So the first two lines are kind of just like placeholders. And I know Sam, who asked for the video, is a big Queen fan.
Yes!
Queen, apparently.
Queen, what? We have Queen fans? No, Queen's like the best band. Can someone, like, can we play Staying Power next time we're on stage?
Sure.
That bass line is so hot. Bop, 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 bop.
Oh. And Queen, apparently, I mean, I don't know how accurate this is, because I'm not like I don't know, but like I've heard that they would often write a whole song with like just vibe words and then redo the words. Like they'd get words on top that would just be kind of placeholders until they could rewrite them. Some of the songs they just stuck with the placeholder ones. But with my songs, I guess, or at least with these two, like the first two lines are kind of vibe words, like tell me, baby, every day, say you'll love me, come what may. Like I guess it does kind of set up something, but like nothing very particular. And then it's only in the third line that I start to like, and it's like, say, well, I don't know. It kind of shifts into being more actually real. I guess it's a little bit like when like there's like a beginning of a film or whatever where everything's a bit blurry and then it kind of comes into focus. It's a bit like that.
What do you mean by real? As in, it's not as in
just kind of
like
concrete.
Proper nouns or anything. Just like
Nah, yeah, not, and yeah, what I mean by real is just more like it feels more like, oh, this like is talking about something specific, you know.
As in like a specific scene, like a specific scene that you're adding with material details, like with.
Yeah. Or just it isn't quite so like, I don't want to say generic, but like
Abstract. Or kind of.
Just kind of.
Tropey.
Like when you hear "Tell me, baby, every day, say you'll love me, come what may," it's like, oh, okay, this is a song. Whereas when it gets to like, when the morning's bright and the pools are bathed with light, and it gets to like, someday soon the sunrise will meet my weary eye, someday when the shadows start to form. It's like, oh, it feels like this is actually, talking about not really the way that it relates to an experience is more concrete, but like. At least the thing that is actually the scenes that are being kind of brought up feel more particular, I guess, and so therefore
it's being placed
it
into
kind of feels.
You're placing it into time, I guess, with the mention of the times of day, and like weary eyes suggests it comes after the end of like a long period of like struggle or difficulty, and all of that's kind of. It's almost like. I guess one thing that your songs do that's kind of interesting is there's a sort of. Universal particularity to it, because everyone's got weary eyes, everyone's seen mornings and afternoons and stuff like that, but as you say, those things are specific images and particular ones, even if they are also just very kind of common and everyday and not that specific in terms of location offered. I mean, like even with the East Gate line, it doesn't. There's the place that you're waiting by. It's like this mysterious East Gate. It sounds cool and sort of unique and specific. And it's like, wait, what? Like that is at the end of the day also just a placeholder, right? It sounds like a specific place, like a haunt that is implied the speaker will go to for this person, but it is a placeholder place. I think your next step would be to mention, like, you know, vape pens and like going to the club. Just to really anchor it in a 21st century experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's a question about how specific people should be. Like, I swear I once heard on an interview, but then ever since I've been trying to find the interview and I can't find it, so I'm not 100% sure this actually happened. But I swear I saw in a Taylor Swift interview that she said everyone's always saying you shouldn't be too specific so that it can be relatable. But she says actually no, like putting in stuff that's really kind of hyper specific actually makes people relate to it in a weird way. Even if they can't
the most
relate
particular
to
is
their own life.
the most particular is the universal. That kind of is that like
Yeah.
it's like a classic literary criticism concept. It's like goes back to Emerson,
Right.
right? Just have faith in your own
right,
particular
right.
genius that it represents, like the experience of all humanity. Which is like, it would be cool if that were the case, you know. If it's so hard to know which specific things will actually land and which ones are you just being a strange human being way out on a limb. Like I've yet to hear the song about, like, you know, eating my shakshuka that just gets us to, that rockets us to stardom.
I think that it's not. Yeah, I don't think that my songs tend to be particularly particular on the scale of things, and I think they're just different kinds of songs, right? Like some would be, you know, if it's more particular, then it will end up being like, oh, well, this must be about someone's experience, you know. So like with Taylor Swift, that's very much a thing where like a lot of people, at least traditionally, would read her songs as like talking about experiences in her life. Whereas I don't think most people will read my songs that way. Like I don't think I've never had people really ask that, to be honest. Like, oh, is this about something you went through? And I think that's partly because of the way that they are like set up, like to feel more kind of, you know, I'm sure some people wouldn't like this, like to feel more like generic, yeah, which is a bad word, but that's kind of how they feel for sure.
I always like it when
but
bits
again,
of like, sorry.
No, go on.
I always like it when bits of kind of like Harry the Bandit emerge from like from the kind of personas that have drifted in to your songs, just from the kind of the well-worn tropes of heartache and heartbreak and whatever, which I don't think is particularly something that kind of grounds your experience in real life or in terms of what you sing about. But sometimes, like, I think it's in Treat Me Gentle, where it's like, I've been somewhere I'm not proud to say. It's like, no, where have you been? You're just where have you been? What? Who are you apologizing? It's like this Hank Williams-y sort of bad boy, sort of Philander's in. He's like, you know, I've been somewhere, babe. And it's like whoa, okay.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. The Bandit, yeah, that's true. Even
Harry
in
the
terms
Bandit.
of like the
Let's
design.
see more of Harry the Bandit, I think.
In terms of the desire and whatever stuff, I think that this is partly why like my songs tend not to be like about particular experiences, is because for me, like the whole way that songs are and the whole experience of singing tends to have to do more with like how one feels in relation to the world and to life in general, rather than like processing like a particular experience. Not that the two have to be mutually exclusive, it's just that for some reason I've tended to be more interested in that. And I think it's probably from being in the church choir when I was a kid, because all those songs, you know, all those like hymns and stuff, they're not about like, oh, this morning I spoke to God. They tend to be more like they tend to be more relivable ways of like orienting yourself or imagining or feeling yourself in relation to things. And so I think that I've just kind of like got so used to that kind of mode of what songs are. And also, to be honest, I think I'm just not good at writing kind of autobiographical songs. I think that I get too self-conscious, whereas to be honest, for me, songwriting weirdly is almost the opposite of being self-conscious. It's kind of just like, just letting go of anything like that. But it's weird how it can work both ways, you know.
I mean, they say about like fiction writing, the method that one person uses when they outline it. You just think, how on earth would that possibly work? And that is exactly what I'm thinking right now, because I'm just like, I don't understand how one can reach the sort of like Buddhistic conscience of like one's interrelatedness with all other concepts and things that seems to just kind of be at the heart of your very technique in songwriting, and just kind of generally you just kind of situate yourself in these sort of vast communities of other things and then make a music out of that. Whereas anytime, I don't know, most of the musicians that we heard when we were like on tour and stuff, and it's like they're just like, yeah, I had a breakup and it was really bad, and this was his specific habit that really kind of annoyed me, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, that's my technique as well.
Yeah, but no, I mean, because the thing is, right, like, and at the end of the day, I guess it's all, even something, it's like you said with the writing technique, right, where the most specific thing can be the most kind of, the most whatever, like people can relate to it or whatever. And it would make sense for you as well, because you write like fiction, like you create characters, you create kind of like ways of characters interacting with people. Whereas when I write songs, I don't do that, really. It's not... Yeah, it's more just... I don't know, I think that I feel it out from just like the way that I love songs and the way that I feel about songs, you know. I try not to really think about the world, I think.
So pure. Pure
Well,
musician.
I'm sure that well, I think it's that I'm sure that I am kind of subconsciously thinking about it, but I think that basically when I like was younger and tried to write songs, I eventually realized that me trying to do it self-consciously and trying to like think I want to make a song like this inevitably just made it impossible for me. And some people, they can do that. It's just different people. It means that I probably... Like, it's a bit like, you know, if, like, there's a ship, you're on a ship, and to some extent you can kind of steer it, right? But there's like a little, it's like there's like a lag, and there's a limit to the amount that you actually can. And I guess everyone just has a different amount of control over that kind of thing. And for me, like, it's nice to feel like, yeah, I can kind of nudge things a certain way if I'm like, oh, it would be fun to try and write it like this. And I definitely, like, for example, I can write a song where I do a different structure. If I'm thinking, oh, it would be cool to not do verse, verse, chorus, and see how that makes a difference, I can do that. But, like, I do have to be careful about, like, trying to kind of assert myself too much. Because, yeah, in my experience, it's kind of psyched me out and made it impossible to do the thing. Like, because then I'll start... Because also, so much of it is confidence, you know? Like, it's a bit like... You know, it's a bit like when athletes kind of start to think they can't do it and then they just can't, you know. So I also don't want to kind of mess with the thing too much, you know. But, yeah.
So
like this song actually has a weird... Sorry, go on. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, when you sit down to actually write a song, the way you're feeling in that moment is not, oh, I need to say this, or like I've got this in my head, I need to get it down. Like, what is it? What is it? How do you feel when you sit down to write? It's like this one, for example. Like, it's just like, oh, I've got a line in my head. Like it goes back to what we were talking about at the start, where you just get a riff and you think, oh, this is a riff and this needs words on it, and then the words just kind of come because the riff demands them. Like, is it how do we attain this Buddha like indifference to our own experiences and go with the groove?
I think, yeah, you kind of do. Like, it's all about like desire, right? I'm not saying that everyone should try and write it like I do, because to be honest,
No.
like, I think it's about different kinds of desire. Like, I don't know, maybe this is a bit silly, but like I do think that it's a little bit like knights in armor or like Jedi. Like Jedi can do what they. I'm not trying to say.
I did not see that. That is the last thing I expected. I can't wait to see where this goes.
It's like Sith can do the same things to some extent as Jedi, but I think
they get different Force lightning though. Yeah.
The different kind of motives deep in your heart make a big difference to how you do it. So weirdly, I don't know. I think that like being clear to yourself about what you actually want from writing a song is going to make a huge difference to how the song is.
But man, what you're even able to want. This is disastrous news for me because all the things I want are kind of egoic and like self-centered. So like you're telling me I need to just like straighten out my entire psychology of desire before I can write a decent song, because until I want something pure, I'm just going to keep on making like mawkish muck about some girl that I should have got over years ago. Is that what we're saying?
Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing in the video there. For me personally, I think that other people, maybe it's different. They don't get as self-conscious or in their head about it. But for me, I think I have to be comfortable with like the idea that the song could just not work and that I might never be able to make another song, and kind of be grateful if the song works or if I have a good time making it. And yeah, so it's even in terms of like the desire of like, oh, I want to make a song that is XYZ. Like if I want that, then it becomes more difficult to actually do it. It's a weird one where I don't know, but other people might be able to not get away with like for other people it might be like generative for them to be thinking, I want to have a song like this, I feel really motivated, I want to kind of make my mark, I want to like produce something. Whereas I think for me, weirdly, it's like a paradox where like something that I've been surprised about lately is a lot of people on social media comment and say, oh, your music is so like calming, and I've never thought of that before. And like none of the music that I listen to I think of in those terms. Like if I listen to like Bob Dylan or whatever, I'm not thinking that, oh, this feels so calming. But maybe the calming comes from the relationship comes from that kind of relationship between, I don't want to say relationship because I don't want to make it me focused, but like basically just the lack of like stress to make the song be something, the lack of pressure put on it means that it does have this kind of like a bit like a boat on water, where it's just being taken where it goes.
I mean, the comparison that I always get when I play your music to people, and people are like, oh yeah, this sounds kind of like Jack Johnson, the kind of like stoner surfer dude, which is quite funny because your background's obviously like, classical Chinese, like Provençal medieval stuff. It's like extremely academic, like religious, kind of like it's very like it's quite a rich kind of entrepot of influences that go into making Harry's special version of like a chill surf vibe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess but like, if someone has if that's kind of their lifestyle is like them just kind of enjoying whatever. The thing is, I think most of my life isn't like that, but for some reason, like most of my life is quite like I need to take care of business. But then as soon as songs are involved, it's like I need to do the song, but what the song isn't anything to do with me, Like I just need to be here, make the thing, then have it done, and then kind of get on with my normal business.
Like the song is like an ideal, like that's separate from day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, I do feel like I do like feel like the best relation to life can be modeled by songs.
Less of the bass
but
one.
Yeah, in terms of the actual making of them.
I hope you're not listening to any Motley Crue.
To like.
I just mean in terms of the things that we were talking about earlier, in terms of like waiting and like powerlessness. Like I'm interested in like the way that.
Okay.
I'm not what?
It's like you are one of the most efficient people that anyone I know knows, and you get so much stuff done. But and then I stopped myself short because I was like, well, this is presumably partly why, because I think a lot of people get frustrated about getting things done, and at the same time are frustrated that all the things they're getting done don't have any deeper significance and that they don't seem like they make a difference. And so accepting that you need to take care of business, but that the business doesn't really matter, and that one day it will all end and there's nothing you can really do, so you need to try to enjoy it while you can. That's important, not just for songwriting, but for just the attitude to life in general, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think the reason why I like that aspect of it probably is because I get too caught up in other stuff, So I'm always trying to kind of right the ship by like kind of reminding myself of like, oh, actually everything matters, but actually like it's so easy to kind of get caught up in an illusion of like how you relate to things, like how you can kind of make your own destiny, or like you can be the thing that is ultimately meaningful in life. And I think songs that like different people have different baselines, I guess. Some people maybe like more relaxed, like maybe too blasé about their capacity to do things in the world, because I think there's a right amount, like there's a right quantity and quality of thinking about how you can do things and the extent to which you can only kind of suffer things, or like not suffer, but like stuff happens and you've got to kind of come to terms with the fact that because I think that a lot of emotion in life just comes from like realizing, comes from like the traumatic like realization that like stuff hurts and there's actually sometimes not that much you can do about it. So with songs, the reason I think I've been thinking like there aren't really sad songs, happy songs. There kind of are, but like if someone just sings a song as like, oh, I'm sad, or oh, I'm happy, it's kind of like, why would that make someone be sad or happy? I think the reason it makes someone sad or happy is because the way that songs tend to be structured is in a way that kind of lets in or is structured around this coming to terms with the way that we relate to the extent of our own agency and powerlessness. And so for me, it's really...
These are your songs or just general?
I think in general.
I don't know, man. When I'm listening to Christina Aguilera, Come On Over Baby, I very much feel like my agency is being kind of like directed in a specific way. Especially like horny songs, they're trying to make you feel a very specific way, and there are very specific triggers that can make you do it, and they're pretty successful.
For sure. But part of those kind of songs is a kind of powerlessness as well.
That's true. That's what makes it
like it's like they set up relations of powerlessness. It's not always clear whether the singer themselves is or not the singer, whatever the main like voice in the song is powerless. But when you listen to it, you're kind of invited into this world in which you kind of recalibrate and negotiate your sense of how much you can do and how much stuff is done to you and you don't have power. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are counterexamples. Sorry that I'm taking a million years trying to explain though. Like
for me, it kind of depends on the genre of music. Like it seems like so much of rap is a really like agentic negotiation for power in this like created lyrical crucible in which everything's really difficult and most people are going to die. But if you like have some quality of resilience, then you're gonna like be able to get through and attain glory and stuff. And it seems the type of it's interesting how the songs, your songs, which are a lot of people talk about how kind of gentle they are and how kind of relaxed they make them feel, and that's the same as I put it on when I'm cleaning my room, and then where I should be in dismay at the mess, I feel like everything is going to be fine because I'm so kind of borne along by it. But how there's quite a fraught relationship with power and powerlessness underneath all of that, right? Because like as it goes back to what we're talking about with waiting, it's like ultimately on something, it's like waiting is an extremely fraught position to be in, and it's one that everyone's in, and songs remind us of how much of our life actually is just waiting, whatever we pretend to be busying ourselves with in any particular moment.
Yeah, like with in Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, where it's like, when you've got nothing to lose. So it's like, I think that songs are often doing both things at once, where it's like making you feel powerlessness, but also making you feel like capable of doing stuff. And the way that it offers both of those things to you is what activates people's emotional response. Because in the background of our lives, I feel like we're always negotiating that. We're always like, on the one hand, why can't I like assert myself on things? Why can't I just exist in the way I want to? But at the same time, why can't I be kind of in the womb or whatever and not need to do
why do I have
stuff?
to do
Why
anything
can't it
at
all
all?
be done to me? Yeah. I think this song like is a good example of it, because like, yeah, the end of the second verse, it says, someday soon I'm bound to be released. Someday soon I'm bound to be released. And then
Psych.
this other psych, yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like, I mean, I think in the background of that, you brought up the Basement Tapes earlier. Like, there's a song, I Shall Be Released, from the Basement Tapes. And it's called I Shall Be Released, but it's from the perspective of someone in prison, you know. It's kind of a paradox. But yes, some people have thought about lyric in general, right? Like songs in general as being written by someone in prison. And you can hear someone speaking from prison, you know. But yeah, so I think it's a good example, because then at the end of that verse, then it ushers into you could call it a chorus, but it doesn't come up again. Like, it's a bit of a weird structure, this. It's verse, other thing, and then final verse. But that's why it's called Someday Soon, because then it goes into the someday soon the sunrise will meet my weary eye. But then at the end as well, you know, so there's this kind of longing for this someday soon. But then at the end of the whole song, there's the, if I have you, then I won't care at all. So there's this kind of like, the whole song's been set up as, on the one hand, caring about a certain outcome, waiting for a certain outcome, but at the same time being kind of like passive as well, being like, I don't really mind how things go. And to kind of bring up
this
Queen
reminds me
again.
of sending a novel to a literary agent.
So, you know, like at the end of Bohemian Rhapsody, the whole anyway the wind blows, you know. Yeah.
Nothing really matters
Yeah.
to me.
But yeah, I mean, at the moment, my theory is that all songs, in some way or other, not all songs, because some songs can just be like fiction, right? They can't, not fiction, like what I mean is narratives, like they can be stories, and that's a
I'm in
different thing that you'd know more about.
somewhere I'm not proud to say.
No, I
Harry
mean
the
like
Bandit, stumbling and drunk.
But no, even a fictional lyric would still be about would still be kind of grappling with powerlessness and stuff. But then a song that is like, I'm trying to think, like a song
Tenacious
that's like a ballad,
D,
you know?
the Tenacious D track where they meet the devil and the devil challenges them to play the best song in the world, and then the song is like a meta commentary about that and how they actually can't do that, but it would have been great if they could do the thing that they're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, it's kind of less common nowadays, I guess, but there are a lot of songs that, like in theory, Homer was sung, like loads of narratives were actually originally sung, but that doesn't make them lyrics in the kind of, this kind of song that we're used to, that is more set up as someone reflecting on a particular moment or experience. So in theory, like there's that kind of thing, which is a different thing that you'd know more about, but in terms of like, yeah, my theory is that all songs to some extent are grappling with this kind of power and powerlessness thing, and that's where they get a lot of their kind of dynamism from. And I think if we were to think of any of, maybe because I'm quite like, I get not self-conscious, but I'm thinking about that nowadays, like I imagine a lot of the songs do have to do with that. But even before I started thinking about this, I'm pretty sure any song that we've been playing lately would kind of fit the bill to some extent. Like Treat Me Gentle, you know. Yeah, like it's it's asking someone to do something, and it's also a kind of desperate thing, you know, treat me gentle and I'll treat you kind. It's like, don't hurt me kind of thing. So kind of passivity, but also this longing for something. So it's like, on the one hand, I accept the way things are. I'm willing to accept whatever like things might be, but at the same time, I'm going to go out on a limb and be like, I want this thing and I'm asking for it. And I guess vulnerability kind of partly comes from that, you know.
So many aspects of your songs are kind of, they're kind of like a gentle bearing of the soul, where there's no, like, it's a kind of destruction of ego. Like I think of, like, for example, Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine, which ends with about 12 repetitions of the line, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Which is a very, like, which is not, I mean, that song is a kind of a speech act directed to, like, where the listener is almost invited to kind of like channel their frustrations at like an imagined enemy through the song, in a way that, like, they can wield that song like a weapon, you know, like, it's like it doesn't exist for them in this kind of like this kind, or like the kind of the prison space that you're sort of talking. I think it feels like it's, you know, designed to be used like a weapon, whether that's in like an imagined space where the listener can feel they have some sort of political agency or something. Maybe that's how it works in that sense. But
Cool.
there's something about the requests, you know, bring it back to the requests and like the, you know, the imperatives, just like they are commands, you know, treat me gentle and I'll treat you kind. It's sort of, yeah, it's kind of vulnerable but also kind of strong and reassuring at the same time. You know?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm trying to think what it would be like if there would be something more desperate where it's like, oh, I'm dying, help me. To be honest, like troubadour medieval stuff.
Some of your songs are a bit like that.
Really? Which ones? I'm trying to think.
Oh no! I put my foot in it now. I feel like your songs often have like a casual reference, so like, oh, I'm dying. Or like, oh, I'm ready for my doom, and it's like, all right, okay.
Oh yeah.
Lord of the Rings,
That's true.
like Frodo and Sam springs to mind.
Well, I think this is the thing. Like, part of it has to be, like, when with a song that, you know, is like, if I have you, then I don't care at all. You know, I was thinking like with the end of this song, yeah, like there has to be this kind of like, yeah, I'm okay with however things are, including if I were to die, kind of thing. Because I was thinking the other day, like, the most powerless, like, because, you know, when I was, like, 14 or whatever, that's when I fell in love with Bob Dylan, and I loved, like, Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. And I was thinking, you know, it is, like, a very powerless-y song, because it's all, like, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, you know. But at the same time, when you actually, and so I was thinking about this whole powerlessness thing in relation to that, but then I was thinking, like, but when I listen to it, it makes me feel a sense of get up and go, a sense of like moving forward, a sense of almost like heroism. So it's like a weird paradox.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And in order to have that, you have to be kind of, there you go. You have to be, the powerlessness means that you kind of have to be willing to, well, no, yeah, you kind of face up to powerlessness and you kind of say, like, I'm going to go and do stuff. It's weird, right? Songs actually get people to do things. Like, you can get up in the morning, you listen to a song and you kind of feel a certain orientation to your life and you say, yeah, like, I believe in doing X, Y, Z. But at the same time, when you actually look at the words of most songs, a lot of times they are kind of like, if you were to just take them outside of the context of how songs actually engage with people, then you might think, oh, this must make people feel just depressed or something. But it's weird, they actually don't, you know. They do the opposite. Because it's like looking in the face, the kind of Frodo and Sam thing that we deal with, you know. Saying, yeah, this thing is really hard, this thing is kind of out of my control, but there are aspects of it that I can do something about. And that's when you feel human, I guess, is like, on the one hand, you see what you can't be and you see what you can't do,
And a song is kind of a way of you being able to locate that and remind yourself of that. But in the process of seeing that and feeling that and kind of grappling with it, you also come to see what you can do. And you come to see the beauty that comes from the kind of mishmash of hopelessness and hope that is your life.
The lyric that's in my head right now is from Radiohead. They're there. Just 'cause you feel it doesn't mean it's there. And it's like, I always felt so sucker punched by that. Like, there's the kind of domain that songs set up for you thinking about all of this sort of stuff. But the thing that's actually going on in every person's head is quite a different, separate phenomenon. I think. Do you see what I mean? Like, I think, like, we're speaking as though songs do a thing, as though there's like an intention behind them, as though there's this kind of like tradition that's designed to get a specific response out of people. But how many people actually? It wouldn't really matter if someone just took your, like, this song that you're playing right now, to the beach and just kind of listened to it, and none of this ever occurred to them, right? In a sense, that would be the ideal situation.
Definitely not. Yeah, I think that the thing is that songs. It's not they have a particular response, but they just open up a field. They open up a kind of horizon that people then use to negotiate their sense of like what they can do and how they feel
different
about
songs
it,
just
and
have
what
different
they can't do and how they feel about
kind
it.
of tone colors of doing that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So the way that each individual person responds to it could be completely different. You know, they might just be like, "Oh, this is gently kind of like." You know, makes me kind of vaguely remember how I felt in this situation that was nice or difficult or whatever, you know. But
I think like,
so
so many melancholy
like
lyrics that I listen to, I think I deliberately seek them out to destroy any hope that I have that anything might be good. You know, I think as I'm really invested in that.
I need to like gloss that for everyone looking and for anyone watching and being like, why is Harry laughing at Gerard bearing their soul about this? And it's just, I don't know, it's like our dynamic is Gerard being like, yo. I don't know.
It's just how it works.
I don't know. It's just the way that I respond to it. But I don't know. I think that it's... Yeah. And you seek that out. You seek out something. But it's weird, right? Because clearly it doesn't work.
I don't know. I think it works pretty well. I'm pretty
good
at getting rid of my impetus to do things. The thing you describe is a very nimble negotiation between power and powerlessness and hope and hopelessness. I mean, it reminds me of a lot of blues music in particular, which is sort of... It springs to mind as a genre that's like especially shaped by its kind of unweatherable scale of sufferings that people have gone through. And then you're listening to it and you're like, oh, but it's so good. You know, there's a sense that the music kind of drives you through, or like in, you know.
Yeah, like I think it was in like the 90s or something that Bob Dylan in an interview was like, blues is to get outside the blues.
Yeah.
Nowadays people are singing that kind of music to try and get inside it. Like I imagine he was thinking of like, you know, like grunge and stuff. And I'm not saying that I imagine it's both to get inside and to get outside, you know, but we just have to be kind of self-aware, I guess.
I guess it's a little bit like with rap. There's this kind of view that the experiences described by musicians are like real in a way if they come from like a genre that's associated with a particular type of authenticity. I think this is one of the things with Taylor Swift as well. I think one of a key part of why her songs had resonance was the sense that, oh, she must be singing about her real lived experience. This must have come from the inside, and it's now she's outside, and this is like her songwriting is how she did it. Whereas like it seems like none of your songs are kind of really like that. They have this, like, they feel like all of your songs feel like they take place in Nirvana. The place, not the band. They feel like they're taking place inside a mind that's already at peace with everything. And can kind of and can see all of this, you know.
Yeah, this is why we need more of your songs, Jer, because otherwise, you know, Nirvana gets boring. The place, not the band. I don't know. I think we've taken care of business. I think we covered it. We came and we played the song. And what's cool, I literally didn't realize this until like the day before we put the song on Spotify, was that genuinely,
You can tell 'cause the tambourine's so
version on
shaky.
Spotify is like the first take. It's like you come back from.
That's okay, but it is a bit off.
I don't know. I think it's good. Well, I don't know. I think that's the vibe, though. I'm a bit off as well.
Well, yeah.
It's a bit basement tapey, you know. It's just two friends.